Hypixel Skyblock is a game with many weapons, upgrades, enchants, etc. And today, I'm going to be taking the best weapon in the game and completely maxing it out. And yes, I'm referring to the Hyperion. Now, as you can see, my Hyperion currently is quite good with Enderman Slayer 7, Music Rune 3, Perfect Gemstones, the Master Star, etc. But today, I'm going to be completely maxing it with every single enchant in the game, every single last Master Star. I'm going to be putting everything on this thing, doing damage tests before and after to see if it's worth the 1.8 billion coins this has cost me. So, subscribe. Alright, let's put everything on this sword. This is the chest here. If I open this up, you can see we have second Master Star, third, fourth, fifth, and all the rest of the books. Right down to First Strike 5, Giant Killer. We've got everything here, even looting somewhere there. Alright, so let's grab this guy and start putting these. I think I'll do the Master Stars first. They are going to require quite a bit of XP, which I will actually buy that now. Titanic XP bottle. I reckon we'll buy 10 of these. See how that does. We should be fine with this one. If we go to an anvil, 350 XP levels, so we do need to splash one of them. Second Master Star, bang. Alright, now how much XP do I need for the third one? 400 levels. I should be right with just one of these. No, I need one more. Alright. Third Master Star is applied. Fourth Master Star. There we go. Oh, that hurt. And there we go. My 10-star Hyperion. Now, before we put the enchants on, I'm actually going to do a damage test. The armor I'm using is my Wither Goggles with the cool Among Us skin. My Fiery Aurora with Mana Pool 6, Vitality 6, Perfect Gemstones. I'll also be using my G-Drag with 1 bill bank, and of course the Hyperion here, which is now 10-starred, and my tuning on intelligence and magic power selected to sighted. So with all that out of the way, I've got in a chest over here, I've got a dummy. So here at the dummy towards the zombie, I'm dealing 3.15 million damage. How about we select it on a Enderman, because Enderman Slayer 7, so towards an Enderman we're doing a bit more at 3.27 million damage. And then finally, if we select Magma Cube, see how much damage we're dealing, because we will be putting Cubism 6 on this. We're doing 2.98 million damage, and to Ablaze we're dealing 2.74 million damage. Now let's go to the dungeon hub. Now this won't be a very good test since I don't have a very good dungeon mage set, but we'll actually go into a master mode floor 3 solo. And the other thing I forgot to mention was my equipment. As you can see, I've got Gauntlet of Contagion, Implosion Belt, Brilliant Gas Cloak, and Rift Necklace. I'm dealing 9.7 million damage. Let's try and find you. One enemy, 10.8 million damage to one of the zombies. And now for the fun part. Now we can put everything on the Hyperion, go back and see how much damage we're dealing. I'm actually going to get all these enchants and turn them into one big book. Okay, here we go. Here's the big moment. Look at that book. Apply cost 555 levels. We put my hype in here with this book. Look at that thing. That is an absolute beast of a weapon. Anyways, let's go through the enchants and look at what I'm actually putting on here. So you can see that I've got Cleave 6, which doesn't really do much, but it's required for the hypermaxed weapon. Critical 7, which will increase our single hit damage. Cubism 6 increases single hit damage as well, but towards magma cubes, which is why we did a damage test on them. We've got Divine Gift 3, which will give a bit of extra magic find, which is always nice. Dragon Hunter, which obviously in the name does more damage to dragons. Experience 5, pretty useless. Fire Aspect 3 is actually very good for DPS, so I'm looking forward to see how that plays out. We've got First Strike 5, which unfortunately is about 200 mil and is pretty useless on a Hyperion because this only applies to left click damage, and although I may use this in the future for LCM, I may put Chimera 5 on it in the future and use it for that. At the moment, I'm not planning on doing so. Then we have Giant Killer 7. Now this one is actually very useful, since it increases the damage depending on how much health the target has, meaning with a hype, it actually increases the DPS towards like bosses like Enderman Slayer actually by a lot, so this is going to be interesting. Then of course Looting 5, this is actually my first Looting 5 weapon I own, which obviously is very nice. I'll be able to use this for the Diana event and many other things requiring magic finds. Lux 7, kind of annoying for dungeons, but it's required for the hypermaxing. Prosecute 6, now this one's very important. This actually increases my single hit RCM damage, which is definitely a big buff. Scavenger 5, kinda useless, but it's required to hypermax this thing, so I need to put it on there. Smoldering 5, this will be my first Smoldering 5 weapon, and Smoldering 5 actually increases the damage towards blazes, which is why I did a damage test on them. Then we have Siphon 5, which will be great for healing in dungeons and during various boss fights and just playing the game in general. Venomous 6 is pretty good for a DPS buff, and then of course Vicious 5, probably one of the most useless enchants on this, just gives me a bit extra ferocity. As you can see, I already have 38 ferocity on this weapon anyways, so take it as you will. But here we go, I'm going to apply this in 3, 2, 1. Look at that, look at that. I now own a 3.5 billion coin weapon, completely hypermaxed. And obviously there's only one more thing I need to do in this video, which is test the damage difference. How much can 1.8 bill worth of enchants get you in terms of damage? So let's go to the training dummy and right click. 3.46 mil damage. I don't remember what it actually was. It was 3.1 mil damage. That's a 310k damage increase. So I guess that's cool. But let's change this guy. And as you can see, that's the fire aspect and venomous doing its thing. And there was a ferocity tick too, thanks to Vicious 5. Let's go select Enderman now. Now this one's quite important as I've been grinding Enderman Slayer recently and I need a damage buff, which will help out a lot in the boss. So here we go, 3, 2, 1, 3.59 million damage. I already know that's an increase. That's like 320k damage increase. That's gonna pay off when I'm doing Void Gloom Slayer. That DPS increase is going to be so helpful. But anyways, let's go change it to magma cubes. Now the reason why I wanted to damage test on these guys is because I do play a lot of Kudra, and clearing the mobs in Kudra is kind of annoying, so the more damage the better, I guess. So let's go ahead and hit this guy. 3.38 mil damage. Before it was 3.27, so not the biggest damage increase, but that's understandable because the only thing really increasing the damage on this guy is Cubism 6. So that's pretty good as well. Now let's change it back to Blaze and see how much damage I've increased thanks to Smoldering 5. 3.107 million damage compared to 2.74. Now that is actually 260k. That's a 360k damage increase, the biggest one we've had so far, which is very handy because in Kudra there's a lot of these guys which are extremely annoying to clear, so I'm very happy with those results. Let's pop into a dungeon run, put back on our young dragon. Fortunately that's the best I can do for armor. Let's hop into M3. Now I think the main mobs I tested on earlier were the zombies, skeletons. So there's a skeleton here. Let's see how much damage we're dealing to him. We're dealing 12.2 mil damage, so about a 1 mil damage increase. Okay, here's a zombie. 12.3 mil damage. So yeah, about a 1.2 mil damage increase in dungeons. I don't own it, a storm set, if you're wondering, but if I was to get one, then I'd be dealing a ton more damage. But now, whether it's worth it or not, I've gone and done damage tests on singular mobs, but now I'm gonna try tier 4 Void Gloom Slayer boss and see if I can get a faster time with this new upgraded sword. So let's go ahead and start the Slayer boss. Alright, this should spawn the boss. Here we go. But now, was it worth the 1.8 billion coins to hype max this? Of course not, honestly. Like, for a 30k damage increase, I could have spent like 400 mil in accessories, or I don't know, bought Jerry boxes of all things and probably gotten more damage out of it. Definitely don't do this. This was just a bad financial decision for a video idea and a cool looking sword. So with that out of the way, there's only one more thing to do for this video. I'm just kidding, 100 likes and I'll sold out my hype.